we got a little bit of a Milio. Yeah, the newest champ we have is my boy Milio. Who is Milio, you might be asking. So how about we find out in today's episode of who is the champion? Starting with Milio. Let's go with the thriller here. Who is and what is Milio?
Yesterday, I helped fight a giant snake. Purple with 1,000 eyes and huge pointy teeth. But whoosh!
Just first 13 seconds of this trailer are already way better than f***ing cinematic we received in 2023. Riot, good job.
Woo! My fire looked so scary, it rushed off into the jungle, never to be seen again. Pretty amazing, right? Yeah, you're so brave, Milio. Tell us more. Fine.
Honestly, this is how I imagine Dante speaking to his voices, you know? That these are not real. Same as voices in Dante's head, and he's just talking to them. I'm starting to like this character.
But only because you asked. I've done so many new things since leaving my village. You won't believe this, but I battled a green monster too. It had 8 legs and massive claws, taller than the trees. I learned to heal a lot of people at once, way more than I did at home.
Wow, that sounds tough. How do you do it, Milio?
So he has a heal, gotcha, and he shoots something that was reminding me of Zoe's bubble that was going through the walls.
After I get it once, it's easy. Wherever I go, I try to make new friends, and it always works. Yeah! Eventually. I know it's surprising, but fire doesn't have to hurt. It's nice to help people see it differently.
That's great training to get stronger, too.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, we think a lot alike.
Hold up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying turret is not turreting, but turret is not turreting. So you want to tell me if you buff Caitlyn, she outranges the goddamn turret?
Hey, we think a lot alike.
Good.
My family is gonna love those stories.
That was some sort of a cleanse, I like it.
They're probably waiting for my next letter. I wish they were here right now. They are here right now. And remember, we're gonna make them so proud.
Aww, I swear to God, I'm watching DreamWorks right now. Puss in Boots, the plot twist of that blonde and 3 bears. I don't remember her name, but you know, it's all about the family. Kawaii family. So that was the trailer.
Ooh, I'm sleepy. I bet they have comfy beds in Ishakan.
Is he Shokan? Anyway, yeah, I have a few questions about this guy. Where does he fit in the story? And luckily for us, we got Necrit, who already covered this champion. So let's give Necrit a shot and let's see what he has to say about the story of this guy.
Is that lore? Is that lore posted on Universe? Well, after what seems like eternity, League of Legends finally released new lore. We did get a very big story for Yorick, which was published by Riot Forge. This one serves as a little bit of a redemption for the fact that Yorick didn't appear anywhere, even in
At least finally Yorick is getting some love, so that's good.
the storylines where previously Yorick was the main guy. But more importantly, Riot also gave us the story for Milio, the
Milio.
next champion. Of course we know that Milio is the young Ishtali mage. And since we got his story before he was
Young Ishtal means Ishtal is the jungle. Ishtal is where Kiki killed her sisters to become the queen. Also from Ishtal we have Malphite, Nekko, Rengar, Nidalee. Who else from Ishtal? Kiki, well, that's about it. Basically, Animal Planet, that's what we have in there.
technically revealed, that means he is right behind the corner, so he's gonna be on PBE very soon.
Jax is unknown. Jax is from Ikafia and maybe Shurima. There's a speculation that Jax is a sand troll. No one knows what Jax is.
Regardless, normally when I cover these stories, I disappeared.
Kha'Zix, no, Kha'Zix is a void creature, void hunter that travels the universe with the mission to kill everything, and he had the lore when he found that the only target that he couldn't kill, that was Rengar, but he managed to get Rengar's eye. And Rengar, with his ego, is always on the hunt trying to kill Kha'Zix. That's why sometimes in the game you have the quest after level 16 on both sides. You have Rengar, on the other side you have Kha'Zix on double teams, yeah? Have a quest, the hunt is on. At least that's the idea. We had it a few years ago, I don't know if that's the case still.
Appear off screen, I retell the entire story and then I end the video. But since the last time we got new lore, I did change the format of this channel a little bit. So I thought, why don't I make this video more interesting as well? And so, I'm gonna cover Milio's story in the new way, with me being on screen. So without further ado, let's get on it.
Okay.
Milio's story immediately begins in a really interesting way. Instead of just focusing on who Milio is and what he is doing, we first get a little bit of history from his family and Ixtal. It starts with Milio's grandmother, Lupe, and her twin sister, Lune. The two were elemental masters, where Lupe mastered earth and Lune mastered fire. Now, before the main story of Ixtal can get a bit confusing,
think of it as Avatar. Straight up, we're in the universe of Avatar. Here I thought it was a girl. No, Milio is a guy.
Let's cover what the entire region is about before we go further. At this point you may know that Ixtal is the region that isolated itself from the rest of the world using massive walls of plants.
Basically, they saw Mexico and they said we need to build a wall, and that's what they did, they built a wall.
That's because in the past it seemed like the void was gonna spread around and consume everything. But there is a lot more to this region besides them believing the rest of the world is dead. Ixtal is a region that is fully focused on mastery over elements. At the center of the region you have Ixaocan, the capital city, inside which you have the high throne called Yuntal. If one wants to join Yuntal, they have to become an elemental master by overcoming the challenges of the Vidalion. The Vidalion is an ancient artifact that can weave magic into physical objects. So the way you overcome its challenge is by using it to weave yourself elemental robes. That is precisely what you can see in this picture.
So you just make clothes out of magic. Okay.
You do this by demonstrating full control over your axiom, or in other words, your elemental mastery. You got all of this? Good, it will be referenced in the video.
So far this is easy. Yeah, chat.
Back to Lupe and Lune, who mastered earth and fire. Both of them overcame the Vidalion and they both joined Yuntal. However, that's where we learn that Lune started plotting against Yuntal. The story never revealed what she did, so we don't know if she was actually evil or if she only seemed to be evil in the eyes of Yuntal. Regardless, after her plotting was discovered, both sisters were convicted of the crime and they were punished as twins. Lupe, Milio's grandmother, was exiled to a far corner of Ixtal.
Okay, you lost me, hold on. So, one of them was trying to commit some treason, why did they punish the other one? Just because they're twins? Is that how it works in Ixtal? Bro, I'm telling you, Ixtal is kinda messed up.
While Lune, the one who actually committed the crime, simply vanished. When Milio was born, his family already had a pretty bad life, so all they could do was to make the best out of it, which is how Milio grew surrounded by love and laughter. When Milio was old enough, Lupe tried to teach him the Axiomata.
Like, bro, so far I'm following the story of Disney. Instead of princess, we have a prince, you know? So far it's so kawaii, everything is so DreamWorks Disney-like. And then you throw this child into Summoner's Rift, where we have predators. Where we have the dangers of the real world. You might be thinking, oh, you're talking about Psychopath Jin. You're talking about demons like Cho'Gath. You're talking about demons like Evelyn. No. The real threat for Milio is Jax. I know it, you know it, everyone knows it, just it is what it is.
In other words, all the arts of mastering different elements. She mostly did this because she wanted to save her own reputation. After all, she was exiled because of her twin. And so far, nobody else in their entire family was able to do any reasonable mastering of any of the elements. But while everyone else failed, Milio showed promise, as he naturally started grasping the elements. However, he ultimately couldn't grasp the rules and the discipline, which is why ultimately Lupe got disappointed and she
Like straight up, bro, that's what I'm talking about. We're talking about Aang, the Avatar in here. He's trying to learn the elements, but he lacks discipline.
abandoned all his teachings. After which, Milio did what everyone should do in their lives. He started learning the best way possible. On his own. He abandoned all the restrictions imposed by his grandmother, studying nature itself in his own way. And soon, with his own set of rules, he eventually mastered fire, which is the only axiom his grandmother never taught him. This is something the story never tells you because you're supposed to connect the dots yourselves, but the likely reason why Lupe never taught him about fire is because fire was mastered by her twin. And
so maybe that twin is not his grandma. The plot thickens, boys. Maybe he is the chosen one, but grandma was the sus one, was a fake one.
Naturally, since she lost her trust in Lune, she would most likely distrust the mastery of fire in general. Anyway, one night when Milio was chasing a firefly, he found an injured hunter in the jungles. At first, he made her stable using his axiom, but the village's healer was far away, so he had to do more. Which is when he desperately adapted his axiom into a force that could heal. And just like that, he used his axiom to touch her soul.
Two kinds of people, bro. Straight up two kinds of people. My first thought was just end the suffering. You've got the fire, just kill the guy. You know? Like, you did the hunting, good job, you failed, you know the risks, you know that's going to be the problem, you knew the responsibility, you know? I'm the good guy here, bro, I'm trying to end the suffering. I've got the fire, so do the fire thing and he's dead, and that's it, everyone happy.
Which he referred to as the inner flame. After this incident, Milio noticed the same kind of warmth in all objects all around him. Focusing all of his energy into this feeling of warmth, he managed to manifest his inner flame, which is how he spawned a new friendly creature.
Bro, I cannot take this seriously anymore, that's it, we're going full Uwu mode right now.
These are all the goopy friends that were teased the first time we heard about Milio. Milio then took this creature and he placed it onto the hunter's wound, after which it started healing her from the inside out. That night, Milio discovered an entire new axiom, which he named Soothing Fire. After this, Milio ran back to his village so joyous that he spawned another one of these soothing flames. And of course, the entire village celebrated this occasion. And Milio named his fiery friends Fumingos. But while everyone was celebrating, Lupe was unsettled. Again, it is not mentioned anywhere in the story, but it is most likely because fire was mastered by her twin. And soon, Lupe grew troubled by the fact that Milio was fascinated by fire.
So she's afraid to join the dark side. Because technically, you can turn this... I'm trying to recall, I feel like it was a fucking Digimon. Not Pokemon, Digimon. Where the stage 1 of the evolution is kawaii ooh, of something adorable, yeah? And then stage 2 of the evolution of those Digimons, they're straight up T-Rex exterminators with fucking machine guns on their back. I feel like we can have something like that in here as well, you know? Just teach them how to evolve, and my boy Milio will have weapons of mass destruction. Good.
And she didn't like how his burgeoning skills went against all teachings of the axioms. But she still appreciated that her grandson achieved something which the rest of the family couldn't. And with his abilities, he could finally end their exile and return them to their rightful place in the capital. And so, Lupe threw everything into her last chance at redemption. From that point, Milio became her sole focus. She started preparing him to leave home, travel to Ishaokan, and finally free her from her sister's failures. However, Milio felt the weight on his shoulders, and the idea of leaving home terrified him. But because Milio loved his family above everything else, he would find the courage if it meant to bring everyone happiness.
Aww.
During their preparations, Lupe made him a special backpack which Milio called Fernista. It's the massive pale thing which you can see on his back.
That's a backpack, bro. I was under the impression that was fucking Bell joined from the church. There's no way that's a backpack. Bro, that's a bell joined from a church.
and it was made to carry all his burning fumingos with him. And so, with a smile on his face at only 12 years old, Milio put on the new clothes made by his family.
Wait, who else? What other character was carrying his weapon on the back, the sussy bag? Got it from that's the one, yeah, the sand guy. Straight up, you are carrying your weapon of mass destruction in a sussy bag on your back. And you're a child. Yes, someone in the League of Legends dev team was watching Naruto. Good job.
And he left the village. He traveled the entirety of Ishtal, forging his way through the jungles.
Does anyone remember how his village was called? I'm pretty sure that was Sand Village, no? So Milio left Sand Village. That is a good start.
Camping underneath the stars, making new friends along the way, all while sending letters back home. After the long journey, Milio finally arrived in Ishaokan. There he became known as the boy with the soothing flame. And his presence caught the attention of everyone, including Lune, who, this entire time, was imprisoned underneath the city. And this is where the story ends.
Also, she didn't go AFK. They just did the classic KGB move. They made someone disappear. You see, that's what happened. So Ishtal has KGB. The more you know.
It's a fairly standard story that feels a bit like a setup. Now, when it comes to setup, we got burned in the past, so don't get too excited about that one. But what I like about this story is that Riot is actually trying to do something new. Because for the color story, which usually is a massive wall of text, this time we got Milio's letters, which are these pieces of wood, which
so kawaii, I swear to God.
It's pretty funny. But these letters function as a bit more interesting version of the normal walls of text. Which, to be fair, they also have a bit of text with them. But the point is...
Shifu, you were gone, we're back, yes, what? Fs? Well, we're not getting Fs in the chat, bro. If the stream dies, but no, not on my end. On my end, everything is Gucci, everything is green. Classic Riot diffing.
The first letter shows us Milio the moment he left the village. The contents of the letter are pretty much a kid writing home to their parents. He asks about how everyone is doing, he name drops all the relatives, and he talks about how he arrived at the next village, how he's happy that he can finally sleep in a bed. He mentioned that his fumingos are doing well, and he tells Lupe that he keeps practicing his axiom every day. And he also mentions that he's doing really well, but he's really hungry. And that's really where the first letter ends.
Chief, you are in the jungle, you have fire elementals. How about you send them to do some hunting? Also, if you're desperate, bro, we can return to the hunter that we burned. We didn't save the hunter, remember, we didn't save the hunter. We burned the hunter, yeah? Which means he should be well done, not medium rare, well done. So technically we will still have meat in there, I'm just saying.
Now, next there are 4 other letters, but those don't have a description. And I believe, hopefully, we will get them later. Right now, on Universe, it is said that there are more letters to follow. It is definitely possible that originally we were not even supposed to see the pictures. I think those were supposed to be hidden as well, but it kinda just happened to be there anyway. So yeah, let's just pretend that this is an accidental leak. Regardless, I wouldn't be surprised if the plan was that every week or so, up until Milio's release, we might get another one of these letters revealed. So I assume there is gonna be more text. Which again, I have to say, is a really interesting way to tackle a champion's story. But of course, because probably on accident we already saw the other letters.
Well, yeah, I remember the last time we did something like that. Instead of the letters, we were getting teasers and kinda leaks. That was Vel'Koz, and that was, I feel like, Season 3, Season 4. Well, no, Season 4, yeah, I guess it was Season 4. When they were trying to release Vel'Koz, they were teasing him. Instead of telling the story, we had void corruption in the regular cinematics and regular trailers and teasers. That we knew something was in the background, something was cooking, and something was scary. And then when Vel'Koz got released, everything made sense. So I guess they could have done something like that with Milio, you know?
Let's talk about what we can see in the pictures. On the next stop, Milio is going to meet Nidalee.
Okay, that smiling, that has to be Timo. Yeah, some Katos, definitely not Rengar, but maybe it is what it is, and my boy Timmy, yeah.
In this picture, you can see that we can also see 2 of her other cat family members and 1 other tribesman. I assume we will learn about their identity in the letter. Also, this is definitely the reason why Nidalee got new voice lines. It's because they could actually tie her into the new champions. So yes, in case you don't know, in the new voice lines for Nidalee, she talks about both Milio and Naafiri, which is the future Darkin champion.
That's nice. Also, I've heard that Naafiri's the dagger was being picked up by the dogs in the jungle. So technically Ishtal, no? Hello?
The next letter after that shows us Milio and how he's healing people using his flame. What?
This guy is not very happy by being healed. Bro, just let him die. Imagine. You joined the Pantheon, you joined the Spartan soldiers. It is straight up glory to die in the war. And instead of dying, you're just being resurrected by some kids who has some fire animal. Straight up, what a shame, bro, just let him die.
What's interesting is that for 3 of them you can see their faces, and the last one...
Yeah, he's dead.
The next stop is Nico. Of course, this makes sense because we know that Nico and Nidalee spend some time together. So they should...
That's safe way of putting it, yeah.
Still be in somewhat of a close proximity. But besides Nico...
Very close proximity to each other, by the way.
...and her froggy friend, you can also see the thorns. These could be just random parts of the jungle, but they could also be Zyra. Remember, a little bit more to the north,
yeah, Zyra in the
that's
jungle.
where Zyra is slowly taking over the jungles. And these thorny vines could be that. Also, in the background you can see that the mountain seems to have a little bit of a face.
Yeah, that's Malphite.
Now, even though Legends of Runeterra is trying to convince us that Malphite is around Targon, in reality he is around Ishtal. Because in his latest story, Piltovans actually found him underneath the ground there. So who knows, maybe this is hinting that Milio got to meet Malphite. And the last letter shows us the moment Milio gets into Ishaukan, since the building he is standing on matches the design of the capital. But that's pretty much it. What I really love about Milio's story is that it is shorter and digestible, while also giving us some really cool lore bits, such as the history of his grandmother with her twin, which also seems to be a little bit of a setup, but these days I'm still skeptical about more setups. I also want to mention that it is really cool that Milio is gonna tackle the Vidalian, which technically means that if he's...
Vidalian is the thing where you challenge, where you have to make your clothes to be accepted into the top echelon of the society, to be in the ruling circle, yeah?
Succeeds, he should get his own elemental robes, which are different from what you can see in his splash art. The story specifically mentioned that his clothing was made by his family. So just like Silas got a Freljordian skin to reflect what happened in the story, it would be really cool if Milio actually got a skin of him wearing the robes of the Vidalian. But that's probably just wishful thinking. Just like the fact that I hope we will finally learn what's happening to Kiana. In case you don't know, many times Riot confirmed that Kiana is doing something in the background, which is why she didn't help anyone during the ruination. But we never got to learn what she was actually doing.
Just like every night, trying to conquer the world, it's that simple, bro. It's just that simple.
Here's more wishful thinking. Lastly, we can mention that, gosh darn it, the music is really good. But that's kinda a given. At this point, everyone knows that Riot's music is beautiful. And yet again, in that way, they did not surprise. So yeah, here's Milio, the first champion in a while that actually seems to be getting people excited. That could be because Milio is not connected to anything else that will be dragging him down. And since in this case less lore...
I don't know, I'm gonna say I'm more excited about Naafiri, just saying.
Or could be more, I am fairly happy with him so far. And hopefully Riot is gonna carry this momentum forward. Which brings me to another thing. Remember how in the past Riot released Zeri and Neon in Valorant together as a single package?
What?
I noticed that in Valorant, we are also getting a new agent who is throwing his goopy friends around. Is this Milio after puberty?
Straight up the evil side of Milio, bro. And that's the video. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, bro, you need to get your story checked, you need to get your lore checked, you need to get your facts checked, just always go to Necrit. Anyway, and that's the video.